Hello, everyone. My name is Caleb Strauss. I have been given the law of grading and academic requirements in schools. A little bit background behind this. So we use grading and academic requirements as kind of like where we see students and hold teachers accountable within a school system and how the grading process works and holding students to academic requirements through different stages of schooling. So, what are grading and academic requirements? So, grading requirements are where students are assessed over course objectives, school curriculum, and are graded on a point scale. Students will be assessed through homework, activities, and tests. Academic requirements are where schools are given a set curriculum in which they need to educate students in certain areas within the district slash state standard. Where do we see grading requirements the most? We see grading requirements most in core classes, as more as we see in your fine art and physical education classes. These classes, you see more tests, quizzes, and homework. For more core subject work is correlated into the classes. In fine arts classes, you have tests, but more just activity type work is consisted of in those classes. So what I'm saying here is, say like your math and your science classes, you tend to have a lot more grade input, and because you are doing a lot more subject work, you're learning different things within the subject daily. You're doing a lot more homework. You're doing a lot more time into that study. Whereas in, say, like your art classes and your PE classes, you're spending most of the time doing activities. In those classes, like art, you might focus on pottery for like a week. You're doing different sets of pottery every day, but you're not being as tested or home having much homework on those. And as in physical education classes, you're doing a unit a week. There isn't much paper writing or anything. It's more of just doing the activity and learning from being in that moment. Where do we see academic requirements? You see academic requirements in schools via like their graduation progress, prerequisites for classes within a course line, testing services such as map testing, EOC testing, and grading processes. So I say, adding on to this, like academic requirements. Say for here, SEMO, you need like in the educational program, you need to keep at least above a 2.75, I believe. And if you fall below that, you're kicked out of the program. Saying like high schools, uh, if you want to have take like your trigonometry classes or your college algebra classes, you would have had to pass algebra 2 or their EOC with a certain grade on those tests. And it goes for the same as like your honors language arts side. In schools, we had to take tests to be able to get into the college level courses in order to not fail. So why are there grading requirements? The primary purpose of the grading system is to clearly, accurately, consistently, and fairly communicate learning progress and achievement to students, families, post-secondary institutions, and prospective employers. The grading system ensures that students, families, teachers, counselors, advisors, and support specialists have the detailed information they need to make information details about a student's education. The grading system measures, reports, and documents student progress and proficiency against a set of clearly defined cross-curricular and content area standards and learning objectives collaboratively developed by the administration, faculty, and staff. The grading system measures, reports, and documents academic progress and achievement separately from work habits, character traits, and behaviors so that educators, counselors, advisors, and support specialists can accurately determine the difference between learning needs and behavior or work habit needs. The grading system ensures consistently and fairness in the assessment of learning and in the assignment of scores and proficiency levels against the same learning standards across students, teachers, assessments, learning experiences, content areas, and time. The grading system is not used as a form of punishment, control, or compliance. In proficiency-based learning system, what matters most is where students end up, not where they started out or how they behaved along the way. Meeting and exceeding challenging standards define success, and the best grading system motivates students to work harder, overcome failures, and excel academically. Now, where do we see academic requirements? There are academic requirements because of many reasons. Classes may have prerequisites or co-requisites in order to take them, in order to be admitted into the class. Like I said before, like uh, classes here at SEMO, we needed to have prerequisites to get into this class. Some high schools, you need to have, it's kind of like your MAP testing scores or your EOC scores to see where you're at academically to be put into classes. Um, Certain programs have set requirements in which students must meet in order to be admitted into the program, as I've stated before. And this is kind of outside of educational purposes. So for athletes, they have to have certain requirements academically to be in order to participate in sports if they haven't met a 2.0 GPA. As for future cases like ACTs and SAT requirements are set in order to get into colleges that a student may want to get into. And as before said, like I said earlier, MAP testing scores are set by the state of Missouri and EOCs, and which are end of course assessments used for Missouri standard learning. So why standards affect grading requirements? These affect grading requirements because many teachers, when creating unit plans for their intended subjects, must go off of Missouri and national standards, which correlate to their objectives they use. Many teachers can change their lessons in better ways because of these standards and can know what they do and do not have to cover unless told by the school district. So I think in this way, when you're thinking about standards and grading requirements, so like, what was I thinking? Why standards affect academic requirements? Standards affect academic requirements because many students have little to no knowledge of knowing that many of the standards build up as they dive further into subjects they choose. Common Core and other state college and career readiness standards define the skills and knowledge that students must obtain to be prepared for college, work, and life. Standards also guide the goals that educators must work towards. So closing out this presentation, I hope you guys kind of see the why behind why grading and academic requirements are used in schools. I wanted to use this kind of to state why these are important, why they are created, and why we have them. Uh, the uh, the overview page that I put for y'all is more of what they are, uh, what their information states about them, and this presentation was why they are used. I kind of wanted to jump off and explain like the reasoning behind both of these and how important they are. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this presentation. I hope it helped you guys out a lot. Helped you guys out a lot. There is the assessment on Google Classroom. I have put the joining link as long as the document along for you guys to be able to look at and helping you guys out on the assignment. I hope you guys had a great day and enjoyed your fall break, and go SEMO.